Today's topic of discussion is the concept of acids and bases, and we will also discuss the concept of hard and soft acids and bases. Now, acids and bases were explained with the help of different theories, and let us discuss some theoretical points of concept of acids and bases. We are starting with a very basic concept of Arrhenius theory. We know that according to the Arrhenius theory of acids and bases, acids are the substances that can donate a proton in aqueous medium, and bases are the substances that can actually release the hydroxyl ions in aqueous medium. So therefore, we have given few examples here, like HCl, sulfuric acid and acetic acid. You can see all of them can actually produce H plus ion in aqueous medium. So therefore, they are considered to be the acids. Similarly, the bases like sodium hydroxide and calcium hydroxides, they are considered as a base because they can really generate the hydroxyl ions in aqueous medium. So according to the Arrhenius concept, the acids are the substances that can donate a proton in aqueous medium. Similarly, the bases are the substances that can actually release the hydroxyl ions in aqueous solution. But this theory has many limitations. The limitations are like this. According to this theory, the display of acidic and basic property of a compound requires the presence of water. This is a very fundamental problem with this theory, that without water this theory is not actually working. And an acidic and basic property of any compound in the gaseous phase cannot be explained with the help of this theory. Okay, so similarly, for example, ammonia in the gaseous state, it's a base, but the basic concept of ammonia in in gaseous state cannot be explained with the help of this Arrhenius theory. Now, this theory fails to explain the acidic or basic property of any compound in non-aqueous medium. I am giving you one example. For example, acidity of ammonium chloride in liquid ammonia and basicity of sodamide, that is NaNH2, in liquid ammonia, etc., do not have any explanation in this theory. So that is another drawback of this theory, that in non-aqueous medium, this concept doesn't work properly. And according to this theory, compounds having hydroxyl ions are considered as bases and unable to explain the basic property of ammonia, methylamine, aniline, etc. Okay. So ammonia, methylamine, aniline, these compounds are also bases, we know. But as they cannot generate hydroxyl ions in aqueous medium, they are considered to be non-basic materials, which is also not true. So Arrhenius theory, it's a very primitive theory. It has many applications, but it has many drawbacks as well. Now the next concept is the Bronsted and Lowry concept. Now, according to the Bronsted-Lowry concept, we know that acids are considered to be the substances that can actually donate a proton, and the bases are the substances that can actually accept the protons. Now, here we have the acids like HCl and acetic acid. You can see they can donate the proton, and therefore the remaining part after donation of the proton, that's the remaining part, is called the conjugate base. Okay, so HCl, after donating a proton, the remaining part, that is the chloride ion, is considered to be the conjugate base of HCl, and acetic acid, after donating the proton, that is H plus, the remaining part, that is the acetate ion, is considered to be the conjugate base of acetic acid. Now, according to this particular concept, the bases are the substances that can actually accept the proton. You can see here the ammonia is accepting a proton and producing ammonium ion, and bases, after accepting the proton, it will produce the conjugate acid. So conjugate acid of the ammonia has a conjugate acid of ammonium ion. Similarly, water can accept a proton and it will produce a hydronium ion. So hydronium ion is the conjugate acid of water. So acids have their conjugate base after releasing a proton, and bases have their conjugate acid after accepting a proton. Okay, so that is the concept of Bronsted and Lowry. So according to this theory, any substance that can donate a proton is considered to be an acid, and any substance that can accept a proton is considered to be a base. Okay, now just like the Arrhenius theory, the Bronsted and Lowry concept has many limitations as well, especially like this. In this concept, the acid-base reactions is limited to only gain and loss of proton, but there are acid-base reactions which do not involve transfer of proton. This theory cannot explain the acidic property of different non-metallic oxides. For example, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, they have the acidic property, but why they are acidic, that cannot be explained with the help of this theory. The acidic behavior of the compounds like the boron trifluoride, aluminium chloride, ferric chloride, etc. cannot be explained with the help of this theory. So these are the drawbacks of Bronsted and Lowry concept. Okay. Now the third concept is the Lewis concept. Now the Lewis concept is very much known to us. We know that according to this particular concept, the acids are actually the electron pair acceptors and the bases are the electron pair donors. Therefore, you can see one example here. There is a reaction between the ammonia and the boron trifluoride. Now, in ammonia, we have a lone pair on nitrogen. Therefore, this particular lone pair can be donated. And the boron trifluoride, boron can accept that lone pair. Therefore, BF3 or boron trifluoride is behaving like a particular acid, and the ammonia is behaving like a base. So, after this mutual transfer of electron, you can see that the adduct is formed. This is the adduct. Similarly, we have another example, that is the water is reacting with the H plus ion. So water, it has many two lone pair of electrons on oxygen, and the proton can accept that lone pair. Therefore, we are getting the hydronium ion. So that is also a Lewis-based Lewis acid reaction. Okay. Now, Lewis acid-based concept has limitations as well. Like on the basis of this theory, the protonic acids like HCl, sulfuric acid, etc. cannot be included directly under this class of acids, because HCl, sulfuric acid, they are not transferring any electrons or they are not accepting any electron. Okay. Similarly, on this basis of theory, the acids and bases cannot be arranged in the sequence of the relative strengths. Okay, you cannot arrange them according to their strength. Okay, right? As per this particular concept, any substance that can donate a lone pair is considered to be a base, and any substance that can accept the lone pair is considered to be an acid. Therefore, all the substances, all the bases, all the acids are considered to be lying in the same class according to this theory. So you cannot classify or you can separate them on the basis of their strength with the help of the Lewis concept. So these are the three important theories, that is Arrhenius theory, Bronsted-Lowry theory and Lewis concept. All are explaining their acid and basic natures with their own way, but all of them have their own limitations as well. Now the fourth concept of acids and bases is the Laxflad concept. Now according to this particular concept, the acids are considered to be the oxides which can accept oxygen, and bases are the oxides which can donate oxygen. So here we have a series of examples. The first one is the reaction between the calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. You know that the result of the reaction is the formation of calcium carbonate. So here you can see that the carbon dioxide is actually accepting an oxygen to produce a carbonate ion. Therefore carbon dioxide is behaving like a Laxflad acid. Similarly here, the calcium oxide is donating the oxygen to carbon dioxide. Therefore calcium oxide is behaving like a Laxflad base. Okay, so according to this particular concept, the acids are the oxides that can actually accept oxygen, and bases are the oxides which can donate oxygen. The second example is the silicon dioxide and calcium oxide reaction, which is producing calcium silicate. So here also you can see that the silicon dioxide is actually accepting oxygen from calcium oxide. So therefore this one is behaving like the acid, and calcium oxide is donating the oxygen to silicon dioxide. Therefore calcium oxide is behaving like the Laxflad base. Okay. Similarly, we have another example, that is between the sodium oxide and phosphorus oxide. So here the result is the sodium phosphate. So similar type of acid base reaction is this. But one thing we must remember, that once this Laxflad acid reacts with the water, it will actually produce the base. So here sodium oxide, which is an Laxflad acid, is reacting with the water to produce the base like sodium hydroxide, and the phosphorus oxide, that is before O10, is reacting with the water to produce phosphoric acid, as this one is actually the Laxflad base. So this is the concept of Lax and Flad. According to this particular concept, it's based on the ability of a particular oxide either to donate or to accept the oxygen. So finally, the concept of hard and soft acids and bases. We have already seen that there are different concepts of acids and bases, like a Lewis concept, Bronsted and Lowry concept, Arrhenius concept, etc., Lewis concept. So we have different concepts of acids and bases, and finally we have hard and soft acids and bases. Now we have seen that actually the existence of individual acids and bases are not possible. It actually depends on on their mutual transfer of electrons or mutual acceptance of protons, etc., etc. So whether a particular entity can exist as an individual acid or base, that can be explained with the help of this concept. We have already seen that according to the Lewis concept, the acids are actually the electron pair acceptors and bases are the electron pair donors. Now the relative strength of an acid and base were not been able to explain with the help of the Lewis concept, right? Now with the help of this particular concept, you can classify them according to their strength. Now let us start with an example. We have one example, that is a reaction between the BH plus and the methyl mercury cation in aqueous medium. That is the BH plus methyl mercury cation in aqueous medium, and the product of the reaction is this. That is methyl mercury boron, this complex, and the hydronium ion is formed. Therefore you can see that the reaction reveals that the water molecule is actually reacting with the proton, producing the hydronium ion, and the rest of the part, that is the methyl mercury part, this is actually getting attached with the boron, right? So you can see that the oxygen is coordinating to the hydrogen ion, producing the hydronium ion, and the rest of the part, that is the methyl mercury ion, is actually coordinating to the boron and producing this particular complex. Now here we have written that to make a comparative estimate of donor properties of different bases. We already know that the bases are actually the species that can donate the electron pairs. So to make a comparative estimate of donor properties of different bases, the preference of a particular base to bind a proton H plus and methyl mercury cation, that is this one, was determined. Now to compare the strength of different bases, this particular reaction was very useful. We have seen that bases are the electron pair donors. So here they can coordinate with a proton. So bases can coordinate with a proton. Now in this particular case, you can see that the water molecule, that is the oxygen especially, they are coordinating to proton and producing the hydronium ion, and the rest of the part reacting with the boron to produce this particular cation. Now this preference was estimated from the experimental determination of equilibrium constant for the above exchange reaction. Now whether this reaction is feasible or not, that depends on the value of equilibrium constant. If the equilibrium constant value is sufficiently large, we are sure that the reaction is proceeding towards the right hand side and the reaction is actually basically feasible. So this particular reaction has a very high equilibrium constant value, means this reaction is practically possible. So oxygen has a preference for the proton in this particular reaction, and boron has a preference for the methyl mercury cation. Okay. Now the result reveals that the bases with the donor atoms like nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine prefer to combine with a proton. So here we have oxygen, but in place of oxygen, if we would have placed nitrogen and the fluorine containing compounds, we would have seen the same result, that is the sufficiently large equilibrium constant value. Therefore the result reveals that the bases with the donor atoms like nitrogen, oxygen and fluorine prefer to combine with a proton, and bases like a donor atoms of phosphorus, sulfur, iodine, bromine, chlorine, carbon, they prefer to coordinate with mercury. So you can see this, the carbon mercury bond remains intact. Okay. So the first category, that is the first one, like nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, this category, the first category have high electronegativity. We all know that nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, they have high electronegativity, they have low polarizability, and they are hard to oxidize. This particular category, they are called hard bases by Pearson. Okay. So hard bases are the species with the high electronegativity, low polarizability, and those who are difficult to oxidize. They are considered to be hard bases. And the second category, like the phosphorus, sulfur, iodine, bromine, chlorine, carbon, etc., the donor atoms of second category have low electronegativity. We know that they have low electronegativity, they have high polarizability, you can polarize them easily, and they are easy to oxidize, you can oxidize them easily. You know, the oxides of these species are very much available. These particular group of species are called the soft bases. Okay. So hard bases are the species with the low polarizability, high electronegativity, and those who are difficult to oxidize, like nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, etc. And the second category, like phosphorus, sulfur, iodine, bromine, carbon, chlorine, they can be easily oxidized. They are of low electronegativity, and they have high polarizability. They are the second category. They are called the soft bases. Okay, so this hard and soft concept is actually dependent on whether a particular atom is highly polarizable or low or difficult to polarize, their electronegativity pattern, their oxidation pattern, etc., etc. Okay, now let us discuss something about the properties of hard and soft acids and bases. Remember that the hard acids are those which fulfill the following conditions. These conditions are required, like the cations of smaller size or lighter elements. Remember, these are all about the hard acids. I am discussing about the hard acids now. Hard acids are the cations of smaller size or lighter elements, because they are having a very high electronegativity, low polarizability. Now the second point is the cations of higher charge, like a 2+, 3+, etc. Now third point is which are not easily polarizable. The fourth point is molecules or ions with lesser number of valence electrons. If they have a lesser number of valence electrons, then they will be much more compact. They will be less polarizable. Therefore, these points or these points are actually required to behave like a hard acid. I repeat that the cations of smaller size, lighter elements, cations of higher charge, those who are not easily polarizable, and molecules with a lesser number of valence electrons are considered to be the hard acids. Okay, so we have given few examples here. You can see that the hard acids are like boron 3+. You can see all of them are carrying a high positive charge. They are smaller in size. Okay, they are much more compact, and they are not easily polarizable, like boron 3+, aluminium 3+, silicon 4+, chromium 3+, ferric ion. These are considered to be the hard acids. Okay, now just opposite is applicable for the soft acids. You can see that the soft acids, these are the examples of soft acids. They are normally the larger atoms. Okay, they are the cations of the larger size or heavier elements. They are the cations of lower charge. You can see most of them are carrying +1 or maximum +2 charges, and the cations of lower charge, and they are easily polarizable. So these are the points which must be fulfilled by the soft acids. Okay, so here we have given the examples of hard and soft acids. Okay, now what about the bases? Now bases, you can see that the hard bases, we have given the example of nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, water, ammonia, fluoride, and alcohol. Okay, now one thing you must remember, that the donor atoms of higher electronegativity, donor atoms with low polarizability, these are considered to be the properties of hard bases. Okay, so hard bases are the species with donor atoms of higher electronegativity, like nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. In water, you can see oxygen is the donor atom. In ammonia, nitrogen is the donor atom. In alcohol, again the oxygen is the donor atom. So donor atoms of higher electronegativity, donor atoms with low polarizability, they are under the category of hard bases. Now what about the soft bases? Just reverse is applicable for the soft bases. The soft bases will fulfill the criteria like donor atoms of lower electronegativity. You can see the example of soft bases like R3P and R2S, iodide, etc. Here the donor atoms are either phosphorus or sulfur or iodide. Okay, so they have they are of lower electronegativity and they are of higher polarizability. Okay, so these are the examples of soft bases. So one thing from the above reaction, it is very clear, as the equilibrium constant value is large, therefore this reaction is very much proceeding towards the right hand side. It's a very much feasible reaction. So here you can see that the oxygen is coordinating to proton. So H plus ion is definitely a hard acid which is reacting with water, where the donor atom is of hard base. Therefore the hard acid has an affinity for an hard base. Okay, Again, in the second category, you can see that the boron is coordinating with the methyl mercury cation. Boron is considered to be a soft acid, and methyl mercury is considered to be a soft base. Therefore, these are actually the reactions between the soft acid and soft base. So, acids and bases, you can come into the conclusion that the soft acids prefer to combine with the soft bases, and hard acids prefer to combine with the hard bases. So that is actually the principle of the hard and soft acids and bases, which is also called the SHAP principle, hard, soft, acid, base principle. Okay, so this is all about the hard and soft acids and bases. It depends whether a particular acid is hard or soft. That basically depends on the properties of the donor atoms. The properties means it's either its electronegativity, its size, its polarizability, its ability to get oxidized, etc. We have already discussed the criteria to behave like the hard acids and soft acids, similarly hard bases and soft bases. So this is all about the hard and soft acids and bases.